Thank you, Brother Basim, for that wonderful introduction. Congratulations, everyone that has just won an award. Thank you so much for the contributions you make in assisting all of us in the struggle. I appreciate and humbly want to thank you. Truly, this is an amazing night. I am excited to see a gathering of people, everyone coming together as a community collectively fighting for civil rights. And it's a wonderful night for us to celebrate the 23rd anniversary, yes? The 23rd anniversary of CARE. So I know everybody just ate dinner and you're probably a little sleepy, but you can do better than that. 23 years. Let's go. So we are here collectively fighting for civil rights. I am reminded of a particular hadith from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says, the peril of the believers in their affection, mercy, and compassion for each other is that of a body. When any limb aches, the whole body reacts with sleeplessness and fever. We know that which affects one of our community affects our community as a whole. We know that we are connected in profound and powerful ways. We know that we have a responsibility to treat those around us as our own family, to uplift our neighbors, our co-workers, and our fellow humans. This is our obligation to work together for progress. But we also know that our community is under attack, not only from the fringe groups or the radical individuals, but from the highest office in this country. I stand here before you at a dark moment in our history. Last year, in November, millions of Americans, our fellow citizens, cast their vote for patriarchy and misogyny, for racism and xenophobia, for Islamophobia and ignorance, for hate and fear. Millions of people in our country claim they were voting for change, but have elected a leader who has extremist views, a complete tyrant, a leader who preys on people's fears, a leader who spreads the disease of hate. Millions of people made a decision to dehumanize the inherent worth of millions of people around this country and people in this room. We have had almost a little over a year for this decision to sink in. And it's still terrifying that there are so many hate-filled fear-mongers that are now in power. Their goal is to do everything that they can to deepen our nation's divides. Some days, there's a part of me that wants to go inside my home, close the curtains, lock the door, so that I can keep my family safe. I remember this feeling, that kind of isolation when 9/11 happened. I just graduated from high school. I was really excited about getting married. And yeah. And I was excited about this idea of beginning my new life, going to college, maybe having some children. Then this terrible, terrible tragedy happened. The death and the devastation and the destruction, the loss of lives of so many humans. It was heartbreaking. And on top of that, there was the public reaction that came with the 9/11 attack. So many people turned so quickly on the Muslim community. It felt like our neighbors, our colleagues, our teachers, everyone was turning on us turning on our claim to be part of this country, all because they didn't know who we were anymore. I think of something that Hassan Minjah said, the Muslim comedian, when he was performing at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He said, when 9/11 happened, everyone in America felt like their country was under attack. But on September 12th, it was the first time where I felt like my family's love and loyalty to this country was under attack. It was the first time for me as well when I felt like we were extremely alone. I remember getting on a bus in Minneapolis and feeling as everyone on that bus was staring at me. I remember thinking, I don't know who is a friend. I don't know who would help me. I don't know who would stand up for me if I get attacked today. I went home and I talked to my father, and I asked him, how can I protect myself and what can I do to look more peaceful and non-threatening? So he said, Ilhan, you're so tiny, who would be afraid of you? And I tried to find some comfort in his humor, but it was a very honest feeling. And that feeling was shared by so many people in the United States. And it felt incredibly lonely. Today, I know some of you are feeling that way. There are so many comparisons with everything that's happening. The Muslim ban, which we know is a Muslim ban, an unconstitutional religious litmus test, regardless of whatever they might want to call it. The hateful rhetoric, the hateful words that only embolden hateful actions. And it has had real consequences. The rise of attacks on mosques, acts of injustice, which often goes unnoticed. All things that this administration plans to do to divide our communities. But there's one thing that's distinctly different today. Today, there are so many people standing alongside us. People who are committed to defending our country's real values, that is rooted in an open society, defending and upholding our diversity, and believing in our democracy being the beacon of hope. I learned about the importance of democracy from my grandfather. My grandfather grew up in Somalia. For most of his life, he lived under colonial rule. He couldn't vote. He couldn't choose his own leaders. He couldn't participate in decision-making. But he was stubbornly optimistic. He always believed in a better future. He held on to this dream of a representative democracy. My grandfather would finally realize his dream after my family arrived here as international refugees. I remember going with him to a political function in Minneapolis. I was just 14 years old. He brought me along as his translator. He didn't speak the language, but he was so excited to be able to participate in our political system. You see, my grandfather had a great love for democracy, not because he grew up learning about the American Revolution or the Founding Fathers. He loved democracy in a way only those who experienced the absence of it could. He believed in it. Throughout my life, my grandfather taught me to believe in three things: to believe in democracy, to believe in our humanity, and to believe that the impossible isn't. When my family fled Somalia as refugees, we carried this lesson with us. It was all that we had. When civil war broke out in Somalia, I was 8 years old. Up until then, my family had lived a very privileged life. The Somalia I grew up in the 80s was very thriving. We grew up in a very comfortable setting. My family surrounded me with love and safety, and as the youngest of the family, I was extremely spoiled. And suddenly everything changed. One day I was going to school with my peers in my cute school uniform, and the next day I saw children as young as me holding assault rifles in the streets. We originally moved back to Mogadishu thinking that the capital would be safer than the countryside. But it wasn't. One morning, our family was attacked, and we decided to leave and pack our belongings and never looked back. I remember walking through the streets, stepping over dead bodies. We climbed over all the debris, rose above the rebels of landmarks in the city. The old historic hotel, the high-rise apartment buildings, the movie theaters I used to sneak into to watch Bollywood movies. All of it was destroyed by war, and that was only the physical destruction. We would later move into a refugee camp that was recently built in in Mombasa, Kenya. But life in the camp would be very tough. There was little opportunity. I could no longer go to school and wear my cute uniforms. There wasn't running water. But the support of each other, the compassion of others, and the resilience passed down from our forebears, we persevered. 4 years later, my family would get an opportunity to come to the United States through sponsorship. We would arrive in Arlington, Virginia. I was 12, and we would get the opportunity to start our new life. And I would enroll in middle school only knowing 3 words in English, which is hello and shut up. And as you could imagine, that is not an easy transition into middle school or teenagehood for that matter. But the America that we arrived in was very different than the country I had imagined when we lived in the refugee camps. When I was in the refugee camp, we thought America as of a place where people had equal opportunity, liberty, and freedom. It was supposed to be a place where class, privilege, and status didn't really exist, where humanity was uplifted and people were treated as nothing less. Living in the United States would be the first time I would realize that all of the identities that I carried so close to my heart and celebrated would bring me so much tension. It was the first time I would realize what it means to be a black person, because growing up in a majority black country, nobody talks to you about being black. It would be the first time I realized the stigma that I carried as an immigrant, as a refugee, and realizing the prejudices that came with being a Muslim person, especially a Muslim person that was visible because I wore a headscarf. We came to this country to be Americans. We were excited to come to this country to be Americans. But that's not how we were treated. We were treated as someone as other. After everything we had gone through, the war, the refugee camp, moving across the world, we began to lose hope. Today, I know so many of you are feeling the same. It is hard to be optimistic with everything that's going on, whether it is some Muslim ban, an anti-immigrant prohibition on religion and race. There is rise in white supremacy, the increase of hate crimes, people vandalizing mosques, attacking little girls for wearing hijabs, running down peaceful protesters. Everything this administration is doing to deepen divides, perpetuate prejudice, and embolden hate. But we must hold on to hope. We must be strong. We must continue to believe in humanity because we have seen humanity at work. Just think about what happened in Portland. There were the 3 men who stood up to protect the girls on that public train, losing their lives for a complete stranger. I think about Heather Heyer, the young woman in Charlottesville who was killed protecting people against white supremacy and standing up for our most basic values. So we know, and we have done this, we know that when this administration talks about building walls, we say, no, we want to build bridges. You can clap for that. I joked earlier that at care functions, no one claps, so you're proving me right. When they say that we are going to ban Muslims, we tell them, no, they're welcome here. They are our neighbors. They are regular people. They are our co-workers. They are our families. As a child, when I had all of the feelings of isolation and despair, I would turn to one person. That would be my grandfather. And I won't forget what he told me. He said, Ilhan, the realization of the ideals in this country is one we have to work for. That stuck with me. I carried this lesson when I decided to run to be a state representative in my state. When I announced, there were so many people who told me that I shouldn't be running, I should wait my turn, that it wouldn't be possible for someone like me to win, that if I got maybe 10% of the votes, I should be proud of myself. See, I was too bold because I decided to run against a 44-year incumbent. And then just to make things a little fun, a local leader who was Somali man decided to join the race. Right. Nothing is easy in life, I suppose. There were the typical stuff that female candidates deal with. How irresponsible I must be as a mother of 3 to want to devote so much time away from my children. And then there was the unexpected stuff from the female incumbent. She would tell people that there were so many people excited about my race because I was younger than her and I was cuter than her. Now, she wasn't lying. But there was more to it. We knew we could win even when others didn't believe so. We believed. Most people assumed that it would be impossible for groups to rally around one candidate. But our campaign was built on unity. Together, we built a campaign that was built around the core belief of those that are Muslim, which is consensus building. We didn't approach issues with a particular lens or work only on behalf of one particular community. We didn't try to represent one group of people or rally around one community. We reached out to everyone, and we believed in talking about our shared values. We worked hard to make sure everyone felt represented in our campaign. We knew that there will be challenges. We didn't have super wealthy donors, no special interest groups. Every labor union, the party, everyone endorsed against us. We expected that it was going to be very difficult. What we didn't expect was that there were going to be so many people who would rally around us. We eventually ended the campaign with over 400 volunteers and 900 donors. So today, I'm asking you to remember my grandfather's lesson, which is to believe. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of my story. I'm pretty sure some of you have already Googled it, and you still could. But I'm here to encourage you to get involved. Whether it is in local politics or on presidential elections, Whether you are thinking about running for office yourself, which you should all be thinking about, or you are thinking about volunteering and giving your time. Whether you've been involved for a long time, or you're getting into politics for the first time, I believe you can make a difference. A lot of people, till this day, talk to me about our work being done and how much I bring so much hope and the excitement that my election brings and how we are providing a counter narrative to the president. But I know that my election is just the beginning. My friends, we have more, very delayed clapping. My friends, we have more work to do. More work to do for the immigrant who's talked about as a problem rather than a human. More work to do for the people who work hard, play by the rules, and still can't afford to put food on the table or buy health care. More work for the families like mine who come here for that simple democratic dream that all people are created equal. My grandfather believed that democracy relied on people rolling up their sleeves, getting involved, and fighting for our beliefs. We have a responsibility in this country. With privilege comes with responsibility. Because we are given an opportunity to shape a better tomorrow, we have the responsibility to participate in politics today. Hoping for change means working for it. And working for change means believing it is possible. I'm telling you, I still believe. I still believe our best days are yet to come. I still believe in that American dream, the dream that we came and held on to for those many years in that refugee camp. Maybe it is my